Hello, Dark Reader, and welcome to the Dark Side of the Library podcast. I'm your host, Katie. Today, we are going to be doing part 2 of our nonfiction releases coming out in February 2023. There's a lot, so we're going to go into it right away. Before I do, though, make sure to check out our show notes at darksideofthelibrary.com if you are interested in any of these books. Plus, we have a whole slew of other books listed on there, like clearly nonfiction, adult fiction, kids books, YA books. So if you're looking for a new spooky read, give our show notes a shot. I use them personally to catalog a lot of stuff that I want on my TBR. All right, let's get started with our first book of today. So it is called Mexican Sorcery, a practical guide to Brujeria de Rancho, and this is by Laura Davila. This comes out February 1st, so this is already out. You can check it out. One thing that's really cool about this book is that Brujeria is all over Mexico in general, but this focuses more on rural areas of Mexico, what the differences are, what the spell practices, how people use brujeria in rural Mexico in particular, asking for guidance, assistance, and sometimes it's a way of having justice, so people will come to them in a way because they can't pay for something to be investigated by maybe the police, so they come to them for that kind of help. This is a really interesting book, a lot of interesting cultural insights. I'm excited about it. So this is called Mexican Sorcery. This is by Laura Davila. We also have another witchy book, so really quick. If you do live in the Appalachians, this might appeal to you. It is called Mountain Magic. Explore the secrets of old-time witchcraft. This is by Rebecca Beyer, and it comes out February 21st. So this breaks down any sort of spell work, practices, traditions, folk tales even of the Appalachians. It has some beautiful illustrations. As you can see, we're listing them here. Beautiful illustrations, super cool book. So if you do live in the Appalachians, this might be something to pick up as well if you are interested in going further into that sort of witchcraft. So that's Mountain Magic, and that is by Rebecca Beyer. Now, our next nonfiction book. So this is called A Mystery of Mysteries, The Death and Life of Edgar Allan Poe. Now, all of us goths are like, yay, this will be great. I love it. Anything Edgar Allan Poe is great. So this comes out for Valentine's Day. Hooray. So this is by Mark Dawidziak. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. All right, so there's a lot of mysteries encompassing Poe's death in particular. Lots of people have said it's alcoholism. Some people have said rabies. Some people have said syphilis. So this book is here to break down what is the potential death of Poe. I thought we did solidify it was rabies, but maybe more and new information is coming out about this. And also, Poe, I think, stopped drinking. It's not like he couldn't have started up again. But yeah, so he did die in the hospital. But now we get more about his life. Also, how his death and at least his spiral into madness, and that's how he passes away, very much emulates his work. So it's really fascinating how somehow those two ended up happening simultaneously. A writer who dives into madness ends up writing about that as well. So if you are interested more about Poe's life and the possibility of having an additional reason for his death, including murder, check out A Mystery of Mysteries. This is by Mark Dawidziak. Our next book on this list I'm very, very excited about. It is called The Real Life Murder Clubs. It's Citizens Solving True Crimes. It comes out February 1st. It's already out. You can pick it up. It's by Nicola Stow. So if you've ever watched that Netflix show, Don't F with Cats, this is a larger deep dive into kind of those particular people. Real life people that just enjoy learning and trying to solve crime on the side. Not investigators, not police, just regular old people. And they have these clubs where and forums where they chat with each other and they talk about crimes from the past, current day, and try to break these things down and really put it all together. And that is actually how Luca Magnotta, who is notorious and incredibly narcissistic and a terrible person, that's actually how he ultimately got caught, and that is a part of that Netflix show and in this book. There's plenty of other people that have been caught similarly to this, like the Boston Marathon bombings is one. We have John Wayne Gacy is another one. Lots of people have decided that they were interested in these cases and have taken it upon themselves to solve them themselves. So that is mostly what this book is about throughout time, the real life murder club. So check this out. This is by Nicola, Stow. Next, we have an art book. I have not played this game yet. It's called Scorn, and it is definitely inspired by H.R. Geiger. You can see some of his work here. This is some of the stuff that's on Amazon. If you want to look further, check out our show notes again at darksideofthelibrary.com to see more stuff. You'll see a lot of the Amazon links there. This is really cool. The art is fantastic. It's actually kind of making me want to play the game when I get time. So if you are interested in the game itself and the art book and just how they devised this crazy cool world, check out Scorn. The art of the game, this is by Matthew Pellett, and it comes out February 28th. Our next book of today is called Spirits of the Tarot. From the Cup's Abundance to the Magician's Creation, 78 cocktail recipes inspired by tarot. I love these new cocktail books that are all being inspired by tarot. We have a tequila and tarot one, which is one of my favorites. This is by Thea Engst. So we have obviously 78 cool recipes, and again, you can see it here. We even have the readings. So something fun that you could do is you can do your tarot reading, or you can be like, I don't know what cocktail I want today because I'm feeling a cocktail. And then you do it, you can do your like reading, and you can pull and make whatever you pulled. And it does even have your readings right there, your reverse side, your upright side, magical ailment, magical assisting, all kinds of cool stuff. Some drinks that are included are the moonshine, the gift of aces, the hanged man's rope. So lots of fun plays on tarot cards. So if you're looking for a fun gift option too, this is fun. It's the Spirits of the Tarot. This is by Thea Engst. Here's a book you probably don't want to miss. It is the Stranger Things psychology book. Cool. This is by Travis Langley, and it comes out February 21st. So, Stranger Things, believe it or not, it's not just a creepy sci-fi and everybody's all nostalgic for the 80s and the 70s and music and D&D, etc., all that stuff. There's a lot more to this. It talks about grief, dealing with friends, moving away, friendships, people going missing, how to even deal with the aftermath of that and the families associated with that, how certain things like fear and other dangers out there like creepy monsters stalking a town, how that actually can inspire hope into the people, especially the younger community. And do things like D&D and role-playing games actually enhance your friendships? And can they actually solve other issues? Like if you can role-play out certain horrible events happening and brainstorm things like how to troubleshoot getting out of a poisonous box. There's so many things, and how to work together. Can role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons actually help cultivate a greater sense of community and closeness with your friends? Lots of cool stuff in this book. Yeah, that's all encompassed in this entire book. And it's all related to Stranger Things, so we get all of our favorite characters in there and how they apply to us. I love it. So it's called The Stranger Things Psychology. This is by Travis Langley. Speaking of monsters and creepy things, this next book is called We Are All Monsters. How Deviant Organisms Came to Define Us. It comes out Valentine's Day. And this is by Andrew Mangham. We have all of these things like Mary Shelley's quote, "Was I then a monster, a blot upon the earth? from which all men fled and whom all men disowned. So this is from Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This book breaks down how the 19th century, it's not just, we have a lot of authors like Mary Shelley, but plenty of other people who talk more about people who are different and normalize them, and it gives them more of a spotlight, and how it might have been exploitive at some point, but it also gave people some insights on what differences we all have. So now it's more acceptable today to be different. We're all different, so we don't all have to feel like we're monsters hiding behind the curtain all the time. So it's a really interesting deep dive into history. It's also about science and things like in the 19th century, it wasn't just literature. We had things like circuses that would exploit people who just looked different and were monetizing it. But it also brought those people some notice. So it's a really interesting novel, bringing literature, science, history, all of that stuff all together and talking about how we are all monsters. So check that book out. It is by Andrew Mangham. Our next book is really interesting, and I'm not sure I enjoy the summary, the blurb about it. I feel like it's still really ambiguous. So it's called Wolfish. Wolf, Self, and the Stories We Tell About Fear. And this is by Erica Berry. It comes out February 21st. Erica Berry had to follow a wolf that was designated OR7. That was its title. And through its journeys, she also went through her own journeys and was, it ended up being more like an existential exercise for her. So learning how to deal with fear, feminism, how she deals with that, and humanity itself, dealing with her past, etc. So I like this whole idea, and I like that we have two parallels with the wolf's journey and her following this wolf on its journey, separating itself from its familial pack. Maybe this has some ties with familial trauma as well, as some things I'm kind of feeling here, where we've got our wolf separating from this pack that they've known forever, and then us as well. Check this out. Check out the summary too. It's called Wolfish. This is by Erica Berry. Our final book today. I'm very pumped about it. I love this. It's Yokai. Yay! The Ancient Prince of Japanese Monsters. This was edited by Paolo Linetti, and it comes out February 21st. Japanese yokai have been around for a very, very long time. We have Japanese woodblocks and monsters. We have sculptures. We have paintings. We have all kinds of stuff. We can see some of the things that are going to be presented in this book here. This book has 208 pages of basically Japan's past and how it relates to these yokai, these monsters, and a macabre game of storytelling. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check it out, because I'm so excited. All right, we whizzed through that super duper fast. So that was part 2, our end of all of the nonfiction books coming out in February 2022. I hope that was super exciting, because it was for me. I'm going to have a hard time picking only a few to buy right away. But make sure to check out our show notes if you're looking for more adult fiction, YA, etc. That's at darksideofthelibrary.com. Also, you can join us on our socials on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and of course on our podcast. So if you are listening on our podcast, join us on YouTube and our socials. If you're on YouTube, come join our podcast. Make sure to review and rate on your favorite listening app, or subscribe and comment. Let us know what things you're reading or what things you'd like to learn about. Do you want to learn more about yokai? What are yokai books out there? What about different monsters, different stories, etc.? Authors? Make sure to leave a comment so that we know what kind of things you guys like to read and what you enjoy. We like to publish every Wednesday and Friday, so stay tuned each of those days. And thank you so much for listening or watching. We will see you next week.